He is dead, word for word. I turned him over and looked at him. His eyes were mercifully closed, but what does mercy have to do with it? There was a brief sound in his throat that I could spend weeks trying to describe. But how can you make words out of sounds? These are two separate systems that we miserably try to link. This resembles something he would say. I must be mouthing his words again because I'm sure he said it once, walking past my workstation to the person who was with him in reference to such and such, mirrors and images, or sex and love. These are again two separate systems that we miserably try to link. Allow me to speak for myself. I had a job and family. I struggled to love and provide. How many of you know the true and bitter force of that simple word, provide? They always said I was erratic. He is erratic. He has problems of personality and hygiene. He walks whatever funny. I never heard a single one of these statements, but knew they were being made the way you sense something in a person's look that does not have to be spoken. I made a phone threat that I didn't believe. They took the threat to be credible, which I knew they had to do, considering my knowledge of the firm and its personnel. But I didn't know how to track him down. He moved about the city without pattern. He had armed escorts. The building where he lived was unapproachable in my current state of randomized attire. And I accepted this. Even at the firm, it was not easy to find his office. It changed all the time. Or he avoided it to work elsewhere, or work wherever he happened to be, or work at home in the annex because he didn't really separate live or work, or to travel and think, or to spend time reading in his room or at lake house in the mountains. My obsessions are mind things, not geared to action. Now I'm in a position where I can talk to his corpse. I can speak without interruptions or corrections. He can't tell me this or that is the case, or that I'm shaming myself or fooling myself, not thinking straight. This is the crime he placed in the Hall of Fame of Horrors. When I try to suppress my anger, I suffer spells of cultural panic mania, which I caught on the internet. I was assistant professor of computer applications, maybe, I said this already, in a community college. Then I left to make my million. The pencil I'm writing with is yellow, with the numeral 2. I wanted to know the tools I'm using, just for the record. I was always aware of what they said in words or looks. It is what people think they see in another person that makes his reality. If they think he walks at a slant, then he walks at a slant, uncoordinated, because this is his role in the lives around him. And if they say his clothes don't fit, then he will learn to be neglectful of his wardrobe as a means of scorning them and inflicting punishment on himself. I make mind speeches all the time. So do you, but not always. I do it all the time. Long speeches to someone I can never identify, but I'm beginning to think it's him. I have my paper, legal size, white with blue lines. I want to write 10,000 pages, but I already see that I'm repeating myself. I'm repeating myself. After I turned him over, I went through his pockets and found nothing. One of his pockets was torn. He had a crusty purple wound on his head. Not that I'm interested in description. I'm interested in money. I was looking for money. He had a half of a haircut, but not the other, and wore shoes, but not socks. The body smell was foul. I still left to sleep on the lamppost. I doubt this occurred to him from my living space. I suffered many reversals, but I'm not one of those scanted men you see in the street, living and thinking in minutes. I live at the ends of the earth philosophically. I collect things from local sidewalks. You know, what people discard could make a nation. Sometimes I hear my voice when I'm speaking. I'm speaking to someone and I hear my voice, third person, filling the air around my head. But the windows were sealed by the city when they condemned the building. But I pried one board open to let in air. I don't live an unreal life. I live a practical life of starting over with middle-class values intact. I'm knocking down walls because I don't want to live in a set of little quads where other people lived, doors with narrow hallways, whole families with their packed lives, so many steps to the bed and so many steps to the door. I want to live an open life of the mind where my confessions can thrive. But there are times I want to rub myself against a door or a wall for the sympathetic contact. I wanted his pocket money for its personal qualities, not its value so much. I wanted its intimacy and touch, his touch, the stain, his personal dirt. I wanted to rub the bills over my face, remind me why I shot him. For a while, I could not stop looking at the body. I looked inside for his mouth for signs of rot. That's when I heard the sound in his throat. I thought in all expectancy he was going to talk to me. I wouldn't mind talking to him some more. After all, we said in the long night, I realized there is more for me to say. There are great themes running through my mind. The themes of loneliness, human discard, the theme of who do I hate when there's no one left. The complex is the intelligence unit of the firm. This is who I called with my most empty threat. I knew they would interpret my comments as specialized knowledge of a former employee and would gather rapid data on such. It was satisfying to me telling them their own names, even somebody's mother's maiden name, and the telling thrust and the detailing of the procedures and routines. I was in their heads now, making contact. I didn't have to carry the burden alone. I have my writing desk, which I dragged along the sidewalk through the alley and up the stairs. This was an undertaking of days with a system of wedges and ropes. This was two days that I needed to do this. I never felt a distinction over time between child and man, boy and man. I was never consciously a child, as the term is usually applied. I feel like the same thing I always was. I used to write him letters after they let me go, but stopped because I knew it was pathetic. I also knew that there was something in my life that needed to be pathetic, but I forced myself to break out of contact. The fact that he would never see the letters was not an issue. I would see them. The issue was writing them and then seeing them myself. So think how surprised I was that I did not have to track him and stalk him, which I was unfitted to do and anyway haunted by opposing forces concerning does he die or does he not? And whatever I said to them on the phone and however rapidly they gathered data, how could they trace me to where and how I live? I don't own a watch or a clock. I think of time in other totalities now. I think of my personal time spans set against vast numerations, the time of the earth, stars, the incoherent light years, the age of the universe, etc. World is supposed to mean something that is self-contained, but nothing is self-contained. Everything enters something else. My small days spill into light years. This is why I can only pretend to be someone. And that's why I felt derived at first working in these pages. I didn't know it was me that was writing so much as something I wanted to sound like. I still have my bank that I was systematically to look at the last literal dollars remaining in my account. I do this for the ongoing psychology of it, to know that I have money in an institution, and because cash machines have a charisma that speaks. I'm working on this journal while a man lies dead 10 feet away. I wonder about this. They said I had problems of normalcy and they demoted me to lesser currencies. I was generic labor to them, and I accepted this. And then they let me go without a notice or a severance package, and I accepted this. One of my syndromes is agitated behavior and extreme confusion. This is known in Haiti and East Africa as delirious gusts in translation. In the world today, everything is shared. What kind of misery is it that can't be shared? I did not read for pleasure, even as a child. I never read for pleasure. Take this any way you will. I think about myself too much. I study myself. Oh, it sickens me. But this is all that there is to me. I'm nothing else. My so-called ego is a little twisted thing that's probably not so different from yours, but at the same time, I can say confidently that it is active and bursting with importance and has major defeats and triumphs all the time. I have a stationary bike with a missing pedal that someone left on the street one night. I also have my cigarettes close at hand. I want to feel like a writer and a cigarette, except they're out, I'm out, and the pack has little specks that I've already licked out of existence, and I am now tempted to smell the dead man's breath for a taste of whatever's there. Like the cigar he smoked last week in London. All through the day I became more convinced that I could not do it, and then I did it. Now I just have to remember why. I thought I would spend whatever number of years it takes to write down 10,000 pages, and then you would have the record. Literature for life, awake yet asleep, because dreams too, and little stabs of memory, and all the pitiful habits and concealments, and all the things around me would be included, noises in the street. But I understand for the first time now, this minute, that all the thinking and writing in the world will not describe what I felt in that awful moment that I fired the gun and I saw him fall. So what's left that's worth to tell?